Hello and welcome to Patrick's Models and Transport. Here's another update on the railcar. I've fitted the cab fronts. I still have to fit the radiators. I've still got to design the radiators. And of course, fit the headlights as well, which I might actually punch some holes in here. I also have to position the buffers. I've not made the buffers yet, but this gives you an idea of I fitted two pieces of styrene here so that the bodywork sits at the right height on the chassis, held in position by the lugs, the locomotive chassis lugs. These holes, I'll cover these holes with putting a 75mm frame, a 75mm styrene frame around them, probably using the 1mm wide pre-cut styrene, and a small lid on top of it, so it'll be like an inspection door on the bodywork for some reason. Or I might even simply make it sort of and write the number 2, like first class. There's less seats here, this is a smaller compartment, so first class and second class. This could be an idea. So we can see the other side. Definitely this way I can still sort of, this is nice and flexible, and I fit it. I just need to lift it off for maintenance. I can just take the whole thing off and it's relatively solid even when you lift it up. It's nice. What I might do, the roof will be made of balsa. Of course, this is a low slung bodywork, and there will be I'll make a cutout in the roof for the main drive gear up here, which I will cover. I'll make a sort of covering in styrene, like a pod on a roof, which could very well be recycled as a sort of pod where the exhaust comes out, the exhaust from the two engines. And I'll see how to make that. I might recycle something to make the pod, something which is already something like that. This tube here, I could cut that in half and make the pod, and then paint it silver like the rest of the roof. I'm thinking once I get the roof fitted, I'll consider whether the roof will be glued on using PVA glue directly to the bodywork. I might, exactly like on railbus. The railbus has got the same type of roof, and that's glued on, but the railbus is held on underneath by screws onto the balsa chassis. You can see that there's the chassis is made in balsa, and then there are some lengths of styrene there that fix the chassis to the motor truck. And this is just an idea. I'm applying similar techniques to a completely different project. Of course, this is also narrower than this one. Oops, that's great, knock it over. It's a completely different thing. Anyway, going back to the way I made this, you can see that the cab fronts, I built the cab fronts making a styrene frame and then covering it with styrene, 075 styrene frame, and then covered with a light skin of 0.30 styrene, exactly like as if I were building real bodywork on a train. And honestly, I think that for future jobs, and for future I mean the trailer car, the dummy car, which will have to be adapted to this old Lima chassis, I'm going to build in this using this other technique, because cutting through 0.75 styrene is very, very time consuming. There's a big margin of error. In fact, windows are never regular. There's a lot of filing. it's tough work, and then there's a lot of corrections that have to be made. So by making this type of structure with a frame, so let's say a frame with a very thin skin of styrene, you first of all you make a very solid structure, and second, you reduce the margin of error, because you're making things, it's much easier to correct things. So I think I'll be making the trailer car using this technique here. And then I have another of these V100 two-axle Lima locomotives that I'd donate the chassis, and I was planning to make another railbus, but this time simplifying my life and recycling the whole chassis, the motor chassis as well, not having to make this very complicated system with the balsa chassis, and then making fabricating all the lower part, because I made that myself in styrene. You can see there's a radiator, there's the fuel tank over here, there's the other fuel tank, there's another radiator over here for the underflow for the engine, the axle boxes which were taken off a cheap toy range Lima wagon. This was a lot of work. It's slightly sagging as well. It's not really super straight, but it's okay. But this was a lot of work. I'd like to continue making these kind of homemade models, but try and simplify my life and make it a bit more pleasant to do. Anyway, so far so good. I'm interrupting, letting this glue here set properly. I'm just going to leave this in position on the chassis now, because this way everything will sort of set in situ. And in the meantime, I've got a lesson at 4 o'clock, and so I have to write a couple of emails now before the lesson and tidy up this room because it's a disaster. And what else was I going to say? I have to design the radiator. I think it will be just quite a simple, large, 1 centimeter large radiator grill here, which will be applied, so a nice bulky, beefy radiator, and I'll just cut slats in it. Then it will be painted in the color of the bodywork, but then I'll dirty it to get the black, the dark slat effect, using very diluted black paint. So that will be the idea. And then the lights. Regarding the lights, I'm not putting internal illumination, fitting bulbs, because it would be, anyway, you can see that the chassis is actually higher than the buffer bar. Even if this would be a very easy chassis, very simple chassis to illuminate, because look, you just need to fit, they're already the contacts, you just need to fit solder the bulb cables right there. Would be absolutely very simple thing to do. Regarding internal lighting, it makes no sense because the chassis covers most of the windows. In fact, here I'm going to I'll make an interesting solution to sort of camouflage effect. There will be curtains and a sort of silver effect, and I think I'll paint the silver effect directly, silvery blue effect, to sort of imitate glass directly on the chassis, and then fit the glazing and everything, and we'll see about that. So regarding lighting, I'm going to use see if I can find the blinking things, because here they are. I'm going to use these, the acrylic diamonds, in true Pico style, and this way we get nice lights that shine, and we get a good electric light effect, exactly like the Pico locomotive. So that's my idea, and that's what we'll be doing. In this case here, we have internal bulbs, and the bulbs shine through these lenses. They're old Fiat, or I think maybe even Dacia, old Dacia Renault 12 type side lights in this, 2 of them, and they make the internal lighting effect, and also they shine through these holes in the styrene. And I made the lenses using PVA. I hadn't bought the the acrylic diamonds yet. Otherwise, that would have been a good idea to have lighting and acrylic diamonds. It would have been fantastic. A very, very good effect. I'm not fitting them now. I'm not. It stays as it is. Okay. Anyway, that's my update. Tell me what you think about this, and I'm away to do some real work because sadly I'm not paid to do this. I would prefer to be paid to do these kind of things. It would be better fun. Okay, cheerio, and see you next time. If you like the video, give it a like, click the notification bell, and of course subscribe to the channel. Ciao ciao, and see you soon.